All right, everyone, welcome back. This is Fractal Cactus. Long time no see. I haven't uploaded to this channel in quite a bit, but there's no time like the present. Today was Sony's State of Play, and right at the very beginning, first thing they showed was Tekken 8. And now Tekken 8, was shown earlier this year at EVO. I kind of thought that it wasn't going to rear its head again until the Game Awards. Jeff Keighley, or the Game Awards account on Twitter, tweeted something about it after the announcement at EVO, and a lot of people, I think, thought that it was going to be a while until we saw Tekken 8 again. So this was a massive surprise. There was a lot of rumors surrounding what was going to happen during the State of Play, and this wasn't in any of them, I assure you. Though I guess some people probably thought maybe it would have been. But Tekken 8 is here regardless, and initially I was like, okay, I'm watching the trailer, and I'm like, yeah, very cool, very cool. But it started to sort of sink in more that this is happening. Tekken 8 is happening, and it's wild. I've been saying for a long time now that Tekken 7 is cool and everything. I love Tekken 7, but it's time to move on. I've even had some pushback from people like, why? There's nothing wrong with Tekken 7. Like, why do you need Tekken 8? And it's like, we need Tekken 8. So I'm going to kind of talk about some of the stuff that I want to see from Tekken 8. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff out there like this, but I'm going to throw my hat into the ring, especially since I haven't uploaded in a while. I have FGC in my name, as you can see on the channel title. I don't want to just cover fighting game content, but for today, we're going to be talking about fighting games. So let's talk about Tekken. So Tekken 8, it's wild. The first thing that you should note off the bat is that it's on the Unreal Engine, which should be no surprise. Tekken 7 runs on the Unreal Engine as well. But the thing about Tekken 8 is that it's, to my understanding, it's running on Unreal 5. And if you've noticed from some of the stuff that Namco has put out about this, I don't know if there's been an absolute, declarative statement like, hey, guess what? This is next gen only. But there has been, I think the official tweet said, next gen, the next generation of Tekken or whatever. I'm almost positive that this game is PS5 and PC only. Now, that might upset some people. But it might also have some people excited as well, like myself. Street Fighter 6, for example, is last gen. And while the RE engine is incredibly powerful and Street Fighter 6 looks very pretty, at the same time, it doesn't look like Tekken 8. Just from the trailer that Namco showed, which is playing here, I'm just going to loop the trailer so I can kind of get this video out faster. Just from the trailer shown, I've never seen a fighting game like this before. I think Sajam tweeted something like, I'm used to watching old arcade footage at 240p. Like, all these hit sparks are my eyes aren't ready for this kind of thing. My first impression was yay, the stages are going to be cool and dynamic again. If you know me personally, I complain about Tekken 7's stages all the time, constantly. They, especially in comparison to older Tekkens, right? All right, you like Tekken 3, whatever. It's very old. Tekken 4 has this cool thing where everything takes place within this hotel building. And while it looks very much like a game of the time, I think that's really a cool concept, it has a beach stage and stuff, but everything is confined within this one area. It has sort of a narrative element to it. Tekken 5 has some crazy stages. I remember there being that one stage where you're I think we're a satellite or whatever. And then, for Tekken 6, I didn't play a whole lot of Tekken 6. It kind of came out at a bad time. My grandmom was dying, and I was in college, so I didn't have any of the friends that I grew up playing Tekken with around. So trying to just playing Tekken, there's online and stuff, but I was never good enough at that time to play online or take it seriously. I also didn't like that all the endings were tied to the Tekken Force game either, the beat 'em up game. You couldn't get any endings in the arcade mode from what I remember. So I didn't play a lot of Tekken 6, but I've seen it afterwards, in retrospect. And the stages in Tekken 6 are really cool. And then Tekken Tag 2, which I did play a bit of back in the day. Tekken Tag 2 has amazing stages. Every time, because I didn't play it a lot, but every time I see footage of it, I'm like, damn, the stages in this game are so cool. And Tekken 7 stages are horrible. Just recently, they started to get better. Like the beach stage that they added with the last batch of characters is really nice. But like outside of that, not exactly great. See, outside of the stages, which, like I said, look really good. Well, no, I should say the stage that they showed, even though it looks like another volcano stage, I've never seen anything like it in any fighting game. The closest I would say is like some of the stuff you see in NetherRealms, because their backgrounds can be really dynamic. But like there's these fucking tornadoes, there's all this rain. The rain is like almost like some of the sports games that are out there, where like the rain is coming like flowing off of Kazuya, and it's wild. I really haven't seen anything like it in a fighting game, and that's something that I think Street Fighter is already lacking in comparison to Tekken, is like the presentation. Tekken 8 absolutely looks like a next-gen fighting game, no question, and I'm sure it's still fairly early in development. By the time that game comes out, and even Tekken 7. Tekken 7 looks different now than when it initially came out. They have definitely cleaned it up, and it looks a lot nicer than when it first launched. So already I'm very impressed with the way the game looks. I like the stages. I think there's promise to have more dynamic, more interesting stages. I'm wondering if we're going to see like different kinds of stage breaks or interactive elements. Maybe not quite to the degree of like Dead or Alive, where you're knocking people through neon signs and baskets of fireworks and, Tyrannosaurus Rexes and dinosaurs and all the crazy shit you see in DOA. But perhaps maybe just a little bit more interactive or dynamic in some way in comparison to Tekken 7, where everything is so static, right? If they're gonna have floor breaks, maybe they won't look like kind of weird, because the floor breaks, even though there's only a few stages in Tekken 7 with floor breaks, they look odd. So that would be nice. But when we really get into the meat and potatoes of what I want to see from Tekken 8, and this is where things get a little, a little dicey, right? First and foremost, I think the Tekken 8's movement should be buffed in some capacity. I'm not necessarily saying make it easier, though there are people out there that would argue that maybe the movement should be easier. But I think the movement should be stronger. And I think the new characters that they've introduced to the game show that maybe that's something they want to do. Not just Zafina, but I think a few of the newer characters, like Zafina is definitely a good example. Best backdash, best sidestep. Maybe we don't have to go quite like Tekken 5 levels of movement, but part of the issue with trying to get better at Tekken is knowledge checks and scrubby shit, right? Trying to learn, you can learn your character fairly easily in Tekken, I would say. For a long time while playing, I would be like, what am I doing wrong? And I would watch better players play my characters and be like, no, I'm doing that. And really the issue that I was having was maybe some execution, maybe my combos could have been better, but primarily it was I just didn't know the knowledge checks in the situations. And if the only answer that you have to that is we just got to keep playing Tekken, then it's going to be difficult for new players to come in and be competent, right? So by buffing movement, you can kind of circumvent all of the weird situational stuff. Bro, you just have to have played Tekken for 30 years to know how to deal with this one situation from this one character out of literally dozens, right? That would be nice. And just having better movement it's just more interesting. Movement in fighting games is some of the most fun that you can have in a fighting game, is kind of moving around and interacting with the play, both your character and your opponent, and kind of because that, if you watch a real fighting match, be it boxing or MMA, the way that the people move, that's really the fluidity of it. It's a lot of fun, and I think that having solid, interesting movement in a fighting game is paramount to making it feel good to play. The movement has to look good and it has to feel good, and rewarding the player for, because like learning how to move in Tekken is difficult, right? So rewarding the player for making that commitment and getting better at it is good. You should want to do that. It's a good thing. Outside of movement, something that, you know, a lot of people are probably going to talk about is, of course, the netcode. This has been a point of contention amongst the Tekken community for a long time. Everyone wants rollback. Harada keeps saying that it has rollback. We have evidence now with the most recent patch that there is in fact rollback in the game. It's just poorly implemented rollback. Of course, I want better net play. I don't think that's really, I don't think you're going to have a single fighting game person say, I want worse netcode, right? We want better netcode. But it's not just, that's an easy ask. At this point, I feel like the netcode has to be good. That is, you know, agreed upon. And I've seen worse than Tekken's netcode, mind you, all right? It's not just the netcode that they need to improve. It's the whole online infrastructure. Now, Tekken does do some things better than some of its competitors. It's not like an Arxis game where you have to play Maple Story to get a fucking match of the game. Okay. But, you know, there is sort of like almost like a, hey, hit play and you're playing with people within Tekken 7. Tekken 7 shows you the region the person is in now. It gives you a Wi-Fi indicator so you can see if they're on wired or if they're on Wi-Fi. It gives you the bars. You know, maybe they could show the ping before the match instead of when you get into it. I don't know if they changed that. I have not played in a while. But showing the ping before a match would also be good. That stuff is good. They've already figured it out. So going forward, that should not be an issue, right? They figured it out. Hopefully Tekken 8 will already have those things. So some things that I would like to see that might not be quite, might not immediately come to mind is you got to get rid of the get ready for the next battle. I want fast load times, okay? I want like hyper speed load times. If the game is next gen only, there's even less of an excuse because all of these new consoles have solid state drives in them, and they better take advantage of those solid state drives. And all, like, you know, most modern PCs, they also come equipped with SSDs. So once again, that should not be an issue. I want fast load times, real fast. And I want instant rematch. It's like one of those things you don't really, and of course crossplay would be nice. You know, having crossplay is always a boon, especially with fighting games, considering that, you know, the community, they're kind of niche. It's not quite as small as like a shmup, right? I play a lot of shmups, but, you know, it's not as big as Valorant or, you know, League or whatever. So having crossplay is, of course, would be a wonderful thing. If they can do that, I would like that as well. But instant rematch, absolutely. Fast load times, gotta have those fast load times in there, okay? And yeah, because at one point Harada was like, oh, we have the get ready for the next battle thing in there because it's hype. Listen, I'm not getting hype over it, okay? I don't know a single person that's like, yo, the load screens in Tekken 8? Hype, bro. That's what I'm here for. The floating glass? Get ready for the next battle? Now I'm looking at some hentai of Julia, right? No, I don't know a single person that is claiming that, asking for that, or that they would want that, okay? I want to play matches. DNF Duel figured it out, okay? DNF Duel is not even a good fighting game, all right? Sorry to say. I didn't really care for it. But outside of, I would have liked if the casual matches were also had matchmaking in them, like the ranked. But ranked, yo, you hit ranked, find me a match, and it finds you a match. You rematch the person, the rematches are instant. Once the set's over, boom, that's it. You're back to the screen, and it's already searching. You don't have to queue back up. You're just looking for matches. The amount of matches that I got in DNF Duel within the 20-some-odd hours that I played it, I think I got like 300 matches in the 20 hours I played it. I think by the time I was done with Tekken 7, I played Tekken 7 for a long time. I had, you know, like 2,000 or something. And while that number, well, those numbers aren't close. But if Tekken 7 had instant rematch and fast load times, I guarantee you I would have had 10,000 matches in the amount of time that I played it, if not more. The experience of making these games feel like offline isn't just about latency and input lag and netcode. Part of that offline experience is playing. Tekken already goes the extra mile by letting you deathmatch people and just play and play and play and play. And I know some people have an issue with that because you can grind single players and ranked or whatever. I don't care about that, okay? I'm talking about being able to sit down and play Tekken 8 and not have to look at tons of loading screens, and I just want to keep playing. That's all we have with fighting games, right? I mean, I know Tekken 8's got a story mode. Yes, what they've shown so far looks pretty cool and dynamic and all that, but all we really have at the end of the day, even if it had an ending for every character, just like the old days, okay? Once all the dust is settled and all that single-player content is used up, all we have left is playing each other in matches. And I want to play as many matches as possible. I don't think that's so much to ask. Other fighting games have figured it out. Even Marvel Infinite had instant rematch, okay? And a decent lobby system and just play ranked mode. Like, please, I beg you. It's one of the most infuriating things for me about Tekken 7. I feel like if someone was to tally up how many hours of my life I wasted looking at those loading screens, I would be very sad that I'd spent that much time looking at them. Aside from that, I think it's the usual stuff, the characters you want to see. Oh, frame data. We got to have frame data at launch. Frame data, some kind of training system, teach people how to play Tekken, okay? They made some improvements in Tekken 7, but a lot of this stuff is incremental. Years we spent playing this game, and a slow drip feed of quality of life features. Well, you figured it out, okay? Tekken is a complex game. It's a difficult game, okay? And implementing some of these fixes and some of these ideas that you've already done would be incredible. Nobody wants to pay for frame data. Did I pay for it? Yes, I did. It was $4. What am I going to say? I actually think I already had the season pass for it anyway, but please don't make people pay for frame data. There is no mysticism about fighting games, right? It's not like that. It's a video game. And NetherRealms does it. And here's the thing. Mortal Kombat is the normie fighting game, okay? It is normie central, right? Everybody knows what fucking Mortal Kombat is. And Mortal Kombat's got frame data in it. From the get-go. Mortal Kombat's got online training mode, so I can go into the lab with my buddy, even if he's, in another country. So, once again, that would be a nice feature, but at the minimum, you gotta have the frame data in the game, okay? Don't make people pay for frame data. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry. It's crazy. And you know what? Look at multiverses. You want to do something interesting. How about you also let people train with characters that they don't own? I don't think that's also not much of an ask. Once again, this doesn't all apply to me. If they make me pay for the frame data, I'm going to pay for it, okay? I bought every season pass for Tekken 7, even characters I ended up not playing because I was done with the game by the time that they came out, like Fakumram, right? I don't really mind. I'm going to pay. I like the game. I want to support the game. It's not a problem for me. But it does make the overall experience better, and it's like a back-of-the-box kind of thing, right? It's something that if you implement it, that it's a selling point. Hey, look, you can lab even with characters that you don't own. And it's sort of like pointing an accusatory finger at your competitors. Well, Street Fighter doesn't let you do that. Street Fighter's got James Chen as an announcer in it, but it doesn't let you play with characters you don't own. We, at Tekken 8, will let you play with any of the characters in training mode if you don't own them. And that way you can lab to your heart's content. And it's a small thing. The amount of money that you potentially lose by doing that is it's so minute that you can't even track it. But on the opposite end, the benefit is that you get people that are like, yo, I can train with Armor King. And here's the other thing. You didn't think about this, okay? If you let people lab and play with characters they don't own, they might buy them. Wow, fucking like mind-blowing idea, right? Oh my God. If we let these people play, it's almost like you're letting them preview the characters. From a competitive angle, it's like, cool, I can train and play with characters that I don't own. But also, like, as a little bonus, it's like, hey, it's also letting people preview these characters, and I bet you that it will increase sales for the DLC characters, as opposed, you're not going to be, you think, oh, I'm going to lose money on it, right? But I think in reality, you'll actually be making money as opposed to losing it, because it's You know, it's like including a demo for a game or something. I mean, yeah, maybe there'll be people that are like, oh, I knew this character is busted. I knew it. I hate it, right? But I think ultimately, you let people have a little taste. They're going to want to. It's, you know, it's like was it like EA or whoever was like copywriting like this tech that lets like match you. Like if you don't own any cosmetics, it will match you up with people in games that have cosmetics on their weapons so you can see them and you get that FOMO. You're like, oh, I want the cool skin for my AK-47, right? You do something similar. You put these characters, not to be so cynical about it, but you let people test these characters out. And you go, oh, well, it's for competitive purposes, and you can lab any character now, but really, it's like a little preview of the character. Earth-shattering idea, I know. Anyway, listen. I think I've said enough about Tekken 8, at least at this time. I can speculate here until the end of the earth. Hopefully, we'll see more of it, maybe at Tokyo Game Show. If not a Tokyo Game Show, I don't know. I don't want to. My initial thought was we were going to see it at the Game Awards, but now that we've seen it here, I don't know if we will. I think it might go dark again for a while. I don't know if it's big enough for the Game Awards, which might sound odd. I think NetherRealms is going to be at the Game Awards, but I don't know if we'll see Tekken there again. I would love to. I'm not opposed to it. But whenever they show the game off again, maybe I'll do another one of these. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you like this kind of content, you know, I haven't done a lot on this channel yet. I do want to start uploading more on here, and any kind of feedback would be great. Believe me. Also, if you like to hear me rant and all of that, you can check me out on twitch.tv/FractalCactusFGC, just like my name here on YouTube. I'll have a link in the description. But yeah, listen, if you stop by and you listen to this, I appreciate it. And take care, and I'll see you when I see you.